to do that. But we did it, guys. We're recording. Welcome to what I like to call our Crossline Training. I know it's a super creative name. And I spent a lot of time thinking about it. I'm Kat Gertson. I am joined by the lovely Amy Sloan, and we are going to hopefully come in here and be the catalyst to your gasoline that's going to absolutely have you just like sprinting into the second half of the month and running right through the finish line of month end. At least that's what I think we're hoping, right? So, but the rest is up to you guys, okay? But like I said, I'm Kat Gertson. I joined Money on August 1st, 2015. So I feel like I've only been doing this for a few months, and then people remind me that it has been almost 6 years in August. And I'm like, where does the time freaking go? And I think I feel that way, you guys, is because something that I've focused really hard on in my career with network marketing with Monate, because Monate's my first network marketing company, was not forgetting who the girl was that pushed accept. Right? Really being so intentional and so remembering of that person, because that person is actually what made this person here dreams a reality. And I'm so grateful to that girl. And I like to preface that because I'm going to share some parts of my story that might sound like I kind of resent that girl, or I might sound something like maybe embarrassed of that girl or mad at that girl, but I'm not. Okay. I'm so grateful for everything that that girl did and what she went through, because I look back on that girl and I don't know how that girl did it, because that's how far I am from that girl. But she is someone who set the stage for everything that has happened and everything that is going to happen. So my story with Monate actually starts before Monate was even a company, if I'm honest with you, because I'd always known that the life I was living was not what I wanted it to be. Okay. I always knew that. I was an NCAA Division I hockey player, and I had gone and I had achieved goals, you guys. Like I was someone, I remember sitting down, and from 7th grade, I think was the very first time that I was sat down by my parents, and I was taught about goals and setting goals and having an understanding that goals took work and those sorts of things. And so I had done that. And then I was like, oh, I want to play at this school. I want to move to the city and play hockey at 14 years old. That's what I did. And I left my parents' house and moved in with my grandma. And then the year later, I moved to an all-girls hockey school down in Southern Alberta. For 11 and 12, I got to hang out with 25 girls for my high school year in a dormitory, kind of thing. I mean, I wish we had TikTok then, because I probably wouldn't have had to go and have to like worry about working today, but we didn't have that. So, and then I was like, I want to go on a Division I scholarship. I want to play in the States. I want to get NCAA Div 1. And I did that. And I also had this dream to play on Team Canada. Okay. And then guess what, guys? That didn't happen. And the realization that that goal wasn't going to happen happened at around 18, 19 years old, when it really, like, I realized it. And I was not in a place mentally, in maturity to be able to handle failure. Right. And so I was a victim, you guys. I was a victim. Everything was everybody else's fault. I was looking everywhere else to kind of distract from all of those things. And it was just like, no. And then I quit university, dropped out of university, came home with my tail between my legs, bounced around for about a year, went and worked in the oil field. And I settled down in there. And one thing I've always been my entire life was a really hard worker. I was never scared of hard work. I was never scared of doing whatever job I had to do just to be able to make money. And we were always raised that you never quit a job till you have another one and lined up. Like it was just that kind of like mentality that I was raised with. And that's how I kind of went with things. But while I was working in the oil field, I got pregnant. And my daughter's father left when I was 4 months pregnant. And at about the same time that he left, I was also told by the company that I worked for that there wasn't a place for me when I came back from maternity leave. And that as a single mom, I wasn't going to be able to do that job. And realistically, you guys, I wasn't going to be able to. I worked a 21 days on and 4 days off schedule, and I worked 12 to 16-hour days. That wasn't going to be possible as a single mom, right? So luckily in Canada, we get a year of maternity leave. And so I was able to um, kind of take a step back, and I have an amazing family who was really supportive, and they were really like there, and they were that kind of soft place to land in this moment, because my daughter's father never did come back around. We're sitting here. She's turns 9 in August, and we're really, really at peace and happy with that part of our lives there. But I had to think on things. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to become a massage therapist because I can make my own hours. I can work from home. I can control my life and my schedule. And I had a realization once this started to happen, and I was in school full time, doing practicum full time, and I was working as a night manager at a bar lounge in the evenings. So I was really busy. I would wake up at 7 a.m., get my daughter to day home, and I would do my school and my practicum, and then I'd pick her up at 4 o'clock. By 4:30, I'd pass her off to the nanny, and I'd be off to the restaurant to work from 5 until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I would come home and do it all over again, right? And so what I started to realize was that it's actually not me making my own schedule that gives me time freedom. You have to have a time and money balance. You have to have enough money coming in that you can control your schedule. You don't control your schedule until you have enough money to control your schedule. And so um, I was burning the candle at both ends and then running out of candle. And one night I was sitting there in my living room, and I can still remember just sitting there. It was so quiet. I had my laptop in front of me, and I was supposed to be doing schoolwork, and I was looking around, and I was just kind of had that moment. And I don't know if anyone else has had that moment in their life where you're looking around and you're like, this is life, hey? Isn't this sweet? Like, cool. Like, and when is this supposed to end? Because I don't see an end to this. I don't see an end. And I had felt that numerous times, but that night it felt like it was yelling at me. It was just yelling at me. It was like this, like just coming at me, like, this is never going to end. There's nothing you can do about it. There's only a couple things you can do. And I knew I could not do the one that I wanted to do because it would not be fair to the little girl sleeping upstairs to deal with the aftermath of what that would be. Right. And I just knew that that wasn't an option. And so in those moments of despair, those moments of when you're kind of at rock bottom, I truly believe is when you allow yourself to feel it, you're also going to hear the answers. Right. And I picked up my laptop and I started doing what most people do. And I went on social media to go and see how amazing everybody else's lives are as I'm sitting here kind of like unsuccessfully treading water. Right. And this is at like 3 o'clock in the morning, you have to remember. So I'm scrolling through and I see this before and after picture that a girl that had held my legs up in a couple keg stands in college. And I was like, messaged her and I was like, I want this shampoo. It was a before and after. And I was like, actually I found out later on, it was actually Ann Fisher's before and after that I saw. And she was like, we don't sell it in Canada yet. And then I was like, it's a network marketing company. I was like, damn it. I was like, but then you guys, I stopped and I was like, why not me? Like, why not me? Why can't I do this? I said, okay, well then I'll be the first one. So I'll sign up right now and then you can come to Canada. And she's like, well, that's not how it works. Like you have to wait till we come to Canada. And I was like, okay. So then I just started like, hey girling my upline every single month. That was me. She didn't have to hey girl me. I was hey girling her. I was like, hey girl, you here yet? Hey girl, you here yet? Hey girl, you here yet? And then in June of 2015, I got a message, a Snapchat, because we're cool like that, millennials. And we were like, she had a pin on it and it had a Canadian and an American flag on it. And she said, we're coming to Canada. And I was like, perfect, sign me up. Let's do this. And she's like, well, not till August 1st. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? But what I did in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start like, I don't have a lot of time. Like, as I've told you guys, like I was very busy. So I was like, I don't have a lot of time. So I'm just going to dedicate one night a week and I'm just going to invite people over. And obviously they're going to fall head over heels with this opportunity. I've never tried the shampoo. I've never smelled the shampoo. I don't even know how much it costs, you guys. I don't even know what there is. I won the award in high school for most likely to invent waterless shampoo because I hated washing and showering so much. So I was really like the best prime candidate for this. entire opportunity, right? We didn't even have dry shampoo then. So I don't know what I was thinking. But I was like, you know what? Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I told Mandy, my upline, I was like, I'm just going to bring people over. I'm going to put you on speakerphone because all we had was Uber conference at the time. We didn't have Zoom. And I was like, and you just tell them about it all. Okay. You just tell them. And so the first week I did it, there was a bunch of people who showed up. You guys have to remember, like, I haven't even signed up for this company yet. Like, I'm not even a market partner yet. And so I'm bringing over everyone, and I have people on Uber conference, like calling in. And then I'm like, if we had that, like we had like 7 people show up. I mean, we, as in I did, there was no one with me yet. But I was like, next week, it's going to be huge. There's me so many people showing up because I told everyone to invite their people, right? And they're going to do it because why wouldn't you? Guys, next week, no one showed up. And then the week after that, no one showed up. And then the week after that, no one showed up. 3 weeks in a row, no one showed up. Week number 5, a few more people showed up, and then we launched in Canada. I managed to, and I'm sharing that with you, not because it's like, wow, she had no show events, like kind of thing, but it's like to have you understand that the momentum that I was able to create for a business that I didn't know a single thing about yet was insane because I actually hit MMB before my product pack arrived. Right. And that was how it happened. I walked into the business, I hit MMB before my product pack arrived. 4 weeks later, I hit AMM. 3.5 weeks later, I hit MM. And then another 3 weeks later, I hit MMM. Right. So by the end of November of 2015, I was managing market mentor in the company. And I was like, wow, I remember getting my paycheck on November 15th for October from hitting MM and looking at it and understanding that my paycheck for month 8 had 3 times replaced my income as a massage therapist. And I was like, what? This business that I'm putting 2 hours max in a day is triple earning the business that I spend rubbing naked people for at least 8 hours a day. Like, so then it was just a logical move where I was like, I'm done touching naked bodies for a living. I'm jumping into the poo game and we're going to go and do this. Okay. And so I was very, very excited. I was what the definition would be like literally ignorance on fire, right? I had no idea what I was doing. I remember they asked me to come and speak on the stage at the very first Monations in Orlando on a panel. And they kept trying to get me to like plan a script and like to write out these things and you're going to read off of a prompter. And I was like, oh no, I just wing it. That's what I do. Like, I'm not a planner. I just wing it. I'm just winging it. And they kept trying to make me, I just wung it, you guys. I just wung it. And I went up there and I was able to talk on the stage and do all of that stuff. And you would think that it's like, oh, well, it would be super easy for you to show up for your business every single day. But I have the most respect for OG people in this business. Okay. The most respect. I was educating a couple of our leaders last night on our team. I was like, I mean, you don't know nothing if you didn't live through the great revitalized shortage of 2016 when that was our only conditioner. Right? We only had one conditioner and it was out of stock for 6 months. Like, times were tough. Like, hair falling out ain't got nothing on that. Like, no, right? That kind of thing. And I was just saying, like, there was tons of these things happening in this business. And so within, I hit MMM, and then a year later, 11 months later, I was able to hit AED. So I hit AED. I think it was 14 months in the business and I hit AED. And then 11 months later, I hit executive director. Okay. 16 months later, after doing that, I lost my executive director title. Okay. I lost that title. The title wasn't the hardest part about losing the title. I'll tell you that. It was overnight. My organization had its volumes cut and slashed rate in half. Okay. So it wasn't that like losing the title was hard, yes, but also losing the title and knowing that you weren't going to just bounce back next month was a lot more difficult in understanding that. So I dropped down to associate executive director in that. And that was something that I was still really grateful for the title, but I'll tell you the reason I think that I was able to persevere on and I didn't have that hard fall was I was even more grateful for the paycheck. right? I had a mentor of mine say to me that you're going to come into this business and you're going to be chasing ranks and you're going to be chasing titles and you're going to be chasing trips. But is that why you joined? Why did you join? I joined to make a financial difference in my family's life. And I've been able to do that every single month from November on, when I was able to retire into my business. And so no matter what I am doing, whether it comes to leaderboards, rank boards, all of the different things, there's a few certains in this business, and I want to let every single one of you guys know about them. There's a few certains. Okay. Number one, the certain thing is that the only way that you're ever not going to succeed in this is if you quit at it. You stick with this business long enough and they will be putting $1 million jacket on you. Do you really care if it takes you 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years to make $1 million in your side hustle? Does that matter? No. Right? I always compare it. We're Canadian. So I always say, like, after, no one ever asks like, oh, how much ice time did you get when you won the Stanley Cup 20 years later? No one asks you that. They're like, you won a Stanley Cup? That's awesome. Right? Like, that's the kind of thing. And so really understanding and knowing that by, number one, showing up on calls like these, and even if you're listening to the replay, you're ahead of 90% of the people who try to step into this industry, because you're showing up for yourself, right? And that's kind of what I'm going to jump in here with you guys, because I think that one of the biggest things that I was able to really propel my career in this and go so crazy with it, because when Canada launched Monate officially on October 16th of 2015, they had 500, just under 600 market partners joined at that date, and just under 400 of them were under me, right? So we hustled in that time frame. Like, we were on fire. And the reason that happened, and I want you guys to understand, we're going to talk about your why. And I know you've heard this stuff before, but we're going to talk about your why in a way that it's not going to just propel you, but it's actually going to be the catalyst that's going to propel your team, your network, and your team into ranking. Okay. Because it's one thing to have your entire thing affect you, right? But I like to look at this as, and I believe it's where John Maxwell, who says this, where when you first step into leadership, you want to change you. Then your next level is to change the community around you. And then the next level is to want to make a global impact. Right? And that's where I want you to get your level of why to. So I want to walk you through a little bit of an exercise here. And this goes way back. Amy will probably remember this from like the Power Start manual, so that everybody understands this was the only thing in our resource library at this point in the business. It was a 17-page PDF manual that was in there that I read one night, and it talked about a have, do, and a be. Okay. And so have, do, and the be, you can half-ass it and you can look at it as something you're like, well, I want to have more money. I want to do more adventures and I want to be richer. Okay, cool. That's super cool. And like, I guess you could say it's relatable, because I don't think there's a person on earth that's going to say like, no, I don't want that. But I ironically was also reading Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, at the same time that I was going through this Power Start manual. And I understood that people are not going to buy what you're doing. They're going to buy why you're doing it. Right. And I really combined those two things there. And so when I sat down and to do my have, do, be, I looked at it, and you guys have to know that the person who was sitting there doing this have, do, be was $20 short every single month just to keep the lights on in their house. Right. I was not rolling in it. I was also the person who had been scammed out of close to $40,000 not long before that. I was not someone who was necessarily like bright and happy and bubbly and all of the different things. And I wanted a better future, but I didn't necessarily believe it was there. Okay. So when I sat down, I was like, okay, my have a year from now. And I encourage you to close your eyes when you're doing this, because I really want you to not just say it, but picture it. Right. And I want you to picture when you're looking at your have and you're like, okay, a year from now, what do I want to have? Right. And as I'm saying that, I'm watching things go through my mind. I'm watching visuals happen in my head. And I kept seeing this picture of like this girl with a smile on her face, this girl with no stress, this girl who wasn't just like running through the week to make it to the weekend, just to be hoping for the week to come back so I could make more money so we could actually do something on the weekend, maybe next weekend. I was constantly wishing away all this time. And I was like, oh, okay. I want to have more time. I want to have that time and money balance. I want that so badly because I sat back and I realized my daughter was 3 years old, and thank freaking God for video, because I couldn't really tell you, I could not remember specific moments in her life at 3 because my mind, I was there, but my mind was not there. You guys, I was not there. I was always worrying about something, whether it was ignoring calls on my phone because I knew they were bill collectors calling to get water out of a stone, right? I wasn't there and I wanted to be there, right? So then I was like, okay, I want to have time. I want that time money balance. I want it to be where I'm not having to like budget these bills to be like, I'll pay the power bill late so that I can do this, and then we can do this, and then I'll be able to move this over here, and paying off credit cards with other credit card. Like I didn't want to do that anymore. Right. So then I went on to do, what do I want to be doing? And I remember sitting there and I was like, the first thing that came to my mind was like, just like something, like anything, because I remembered this moment. And I remembered this time where it was Christmas time and I was working nonstop. It was the year before Money. So it was Christmas, December 2014. And I remember it was on the 23rd and I had to go with my tail between my legs to my mom and be like, Santa doesn't have any money this year. And like, as a parent, like when you're like, it's not like you've done everything you can. You've literally taken every shift you can. I worked Christmas Eve and I worked Boxing Day that year. I only got to take Christmas Day off because the restaurant was closed. Like that's how much it was. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't. There was no way. And I was like, those are the things I want to be able to do. I want to take my daughter to the movie on Valentine's Day. I want to be able to do those little tiny things, those little moments that really make it, because I can tell you that it's not going to be the Louis Vuitton bags for me. It's not going to be all these different things for me. For me, it's to be able to go and say to my daughter, like, oh, you want to go and watch the new movie that's out and not have to wait 6 months from now when it's in matinee and it's only $2, right? Or we have free time on Saturday. We don't have to wait for cheap Tuesdays to go, right? Those are the little things that were important to me. So when I say do things, I want you guys to picture those things and I want you to think about those things. And then the next part is be. And I knew right then and there, as soon as I had gone through that thing, I was like, a year from now, I'm going to be present. I might not be perfect at it because I am a human, but I'm going to be present a year from now. And then I worked through those things, and I want to empower you all to literally sit there and think on those things. That is going to be the thing, because everything changed in me once I could see that, because I can tell you there would be nights where I would be so tired, so freaking tired. And I'd want to go to bed. I would be looking at around and I would see everything and I'd be like, oh, it's probably so easy for her because she's got a husband to watch the kids while she's going and doing X, Y, and Z. And you guys, like, I would catch myself going into these victim mode mentalities in my head and saying all of these things that were like, woe is me kind of stories. And then I'd be able to snap myself out of it and be like, have, do, be. This isn't going to get you there. Your feet need to hit the ground with literal intention and fire and go, because having that mindset got you where you are right now. It's not going to take you where you want to go. That's where it woke me up. And it was like, boom. And as I kept saying it every single day, you guys, every single day, I would remind myself. And I couldn't fall asleep at night. And I couldn't sleep in the mornings because I was so excited, right? I would put Netflix on. I wouldn't watch a darn minute of it because I'd be so busy working my business, reaching out to people, talking to people, everything like that. Because guess what? I didn't know this. I didn't know what my why was at this point, you guys. Okay. So your have to be is the first part, and you focus on those things and you run for those things because you're like, a year from now, I can guarantee is going to be better. I have control of that. Right. And so then I worked on it. And then I would talk about my have to be all the time. And then I was sitting on that stage at Monations in 2016 in Orlando, and we had to say our why. Teresa Epps is like, Kat, why are you doing this business? And I sat there and I looked at her and I said, I'm doing this business because my daughter deserves the time with her mom that she would have if I was a stay-at-home mom. And she deserves the opportunities that a dual income home would provide. And you guys, I had never said that before. That had just poured out of me. And luckily my mom videotaped it because I don't remember even saying it. It just poured out. And then I almost cried. And but I brought it back in because I'm not a crier. That's just not like, I'm not built that way. And I brought it back in, but then I was like, oh, this just got real. Right? I felt like that was the moment where I was like, oh, even if you wanted to quit, you couldn't now. Like, you have unlocked the box. And I want to empower you all to sit there and go and do that have to be. And don't put that pressure on yourself to have this like why yet, but say that have to be every single day. You're looking in the mirror, you're driving on the road, you're getting to work, you're doing all of the things. And you're like, next year at this time, I'm going to have this, I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be this. Next year at this time, I'm going to have this, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be this. And you're just going to keep saying it and saying it and saying it. And it's going to become a part of you. And then one day you're going to be doing a Zoom call. You're going to be sitting on a stage and your why is going to pour out of you. And no matter what adversity comes at you, no matter how many no's you get, no matter what happens in any of the world, you're still going to be here killing it because you know any other option is not going to help you with that. And so I really hope that you guys found some value in that. And I hope that you're going to take at least 10, 15 minutes tonight and sit down with a have, do, and be, and let yourself marinate on it. And anytime you get frustrated in your business or you feel like it isn't going anywhere, maybe it is time to revisit that and make a new one, right? Because it might sound the same one that got you to your first level of what you wanted for success isn't going to get you to all of the other ones, right? It's going to change over time. So with that, I'm really excited to pass the old microphone over to Amy and have her walk you guys through, because she is someone who steadily is like someone I look up to. And she is someone who walks the talk. She is authentically herself, and like, she's just the bomb. So I don't want to take away anything from what she's going to say, but take it away, Amy.
Yes, I was finishing up my little notes there. I'm going to mute myself for a second because my dog wants inside and I'm going to yell, and I'm not going to do that in your ear. Hold on. All good in the hood. Okay. Hi, you guys. My name is Amy Sloan. Much like Kat, I have been with Monat for over 5.5 years. I don't know, many of you guys have probably heard my story. I'm not sure though. And I'm going to tell you what, when we become Monat market partners, you also become storytellers. You know, just like Kat was saying, like, you have to be able to tell your story. One of the things that I tell my team is like, you're going to hear my story a lot. They all know my story. I hope they aren't tired of hearing it, but you're going to hear my story today. And maybe you're going to sit there and think, well, I don't have that kind of story. I don't want you to think about that. I want you to think of 3 things when you're telling your story: what you didn't like about your life before Monat, how Monat was going to help with that, and what you're excited about for your future. That's going to change as you progress through, but it's always a story and it's going to relate to someone. Okay. So later we're going to talk about branding and really figuring out who you are and being authentically that person through social media. But I'm going to give you some insight into my past and my story, and you're going to see how that fed into my brand. Okay. So like I said, I've been doing this for 5.5 years. When Monat was brought into my life, you guys, my husband and I were nearly 6 figures in debt. Raising 4 kids. We had lost our home previous to this one. And it was honestly by the grace of God, we even got the house. I literally got called on off hours on Halloween, taking my 4 kids around door to door, that we got approved. Who's working at 7 p.m. on Halloween on a mortgage something? It was totally, I believe, a God thing. But I remember getting into this house thinking we're finally going to make ends meet. And that wasn't the case. We got hit with some medical bills, and one thing after another just kept drowning us even deeper into debt. I remember being on my knees, pleading God for a lifeline in my basement. because I, much like Kat, had just gone to my mother-in-law and said, hey, my son needs new basketball shoes. We've maxed out all the credit cards. I can't pay for them. You guys, I was raised in a home where you worked your butt off for everything that you have. You didn't borrow, you figured it out. And so I was ashamed and I was embarrassed. But on the outside looking in, everybody thought I had my poop in a group, that we were good to go, that my marriage was really great. I got 4 beautiful kids. I'm a salon owner. I own my own salon. Y'all, if you own your own salon, I don't know if we have any other hairstylists in here, but owning your salon is expensive. It took me years, 10 years actually, to break even with what I spent on creating that salon because of all the overhead and all this stuff. Anyway, I digress. We were drowning. I didn't realize that Monat was going to be the thing that got us out of it, but I'm going to just fast forward a little bit. Monica gave me some samples. Monica Hobbs, if anybody knows that curly girl Monica, at the time she was not that curly girl Monica, she was that frizzy hair Monica. And she and I were in MOPS together, okay? We were in MOPS. Do you guys know what MOPS is? It may be just a US thing. It's mothers of preschoolers. And we had little babies. And it was met at our church, and she used to sell bows in my salon. Monica's real crafty, y'all. She can sew, she can do all these crafty things, and she sold bows in my salon, little girl bows. She came to me and she said, Amy, would you just try these products? I think you're gonna love them. I thought she was a sales rep. I thought she'd become a sales rep. We get them all the time in the salon. I was like, sure, I'll try your products. Sounds good. I honestly had already predetermined that it wasn't gonna work because she said things like sulfate free, paraben free, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. 100% natural based. Anything I'd ever tried didn't work. You guys, I loved it. I fell in love with the first wash like many people do. My clients loved it. They were like, oh my gosh, Amy. They went home and they were like touching their hair and like, when can I buy that stuff from you? And I'm like, oh, I got to talk to her. I don't know what the upfront cost is, but I'll let you know. I, much like Kat, then found out it was a network marketing company. Despite the fact that I loved the product, loved the way that it performed on my hair, and the fact that I had clients that were already going to purchase it, I said, oh no, I don't do those network marketing things. I've tried those before in the past and they don't work. But I couldn't shake it, you guys. I have a real funny story, but I don't want to take too much of your time, so I'll tell it another time. You're just going to have me back, Kat. But I was literally deciding I wasn't going to do it, even though I love the product. But I couldn't shake the feeling. I went to a meeting that I promised Monica I would go to. And all of a sudden, I started seeing the vision. I met the people. I saw the science. And I brought my husband to this meeting as moral support so that I wouldn't sign up for another stupid network marketing thing. And we got in the car and I said, so I kind of feel like maybe this is a good idea. And he's like, I think the same thing, but we don't have any money, Amy. You guys, living past paycheck to paycheck traps you. I felt trapped. I felt like I couldn't even, I remember handing over my credit card to the lady to buy my groceries and just praying that I didn't go over what was left on the balance. It happened multiple times. But I went to him and I said, I got to do this. I have this feeling in my bones that it's something I got to try, or I'm going to wonder what if the rest of my life. So I made a plan. So when people, and this is something you can tell people, when people decide they want something bad enough, they make a plan and make it happen. That whether that's starting something, whether that's choosing to do something new in your business, I don't know. But if you want it bad enough, you make a plan and you make it happen. Just like if you had a job and one of your tires went flat, you're not going to be like, sorry, can't come to work. I have a flat tire. Eventually, they're going to be like, get the flat tire fixed. What is going on? You guys, this was my lifeline. So I made a plan. I went and I sold a bunch of stuff. Back in the day when we had garage sales, I cleaned some extra houses that I painted some furniture because I was working 3 jobs at the time. And I told Monica, don't expect anything from me. I will give this what I can, but I'm super busy. I was ignorance on fire. And I said, you know what? I started the day, and I'm going to tell you guys this. I did this, and I still to this day will do this. I started each day, and I said, okay, I'm going to get 4 of those BMG things, customer people. I never knew any of the acronyms. Whoever was asking about the acronyms, you guys, I had no idea. Monica would be like, you got to sign up these ZBP, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. And I just started signing people up. And I want to tell you something. I do not believe that I did really well because I'm a hairstylist. I don't tell a lot of people that I'm a hairstylist because they immediately, well, of course that worked for you. You're a hairstylist. You guys, I had maybe 5 people that I could think of that would spend that kind of money on shampoo and conditioner in my salon. You know how many bottles of shampoo I had sitting on the shelves in my salon collecting dust because people could go down to the next liter sale because they were cheap and they didn't care. And whatever I was selling didn't normally work anyway. So I knew there wasn't going to be this influx of people that were going to want to buy it. I made my mom buy it. I gave it to my sister. And I went and I decided that I was going to talk to everybody I knew about these products that I loved. So I'd say I'm getting 4 VIPs customers today, and I'm not going to stop until I do it. And I just did that day after day after day after day. I can't even tell you how many people I would talk to, but I didn't stop until I got 4 VIP customers for that day. Back in the day, it was 3 plus 3. So you looked at 3 market partners and 3 VIPs. And so I would build my VIPs. And then my whole goal was to just get one of the VIPs to upgrade to market partner because I wasn't 100% sold on the market partner option because I hadn't seen anything. That's another subject. But you guys, within 2 weeks, I made back every dime I invested. Within 6 months, I was covering my mortgage payment for my family. And within 2 years, I erased our nearly 6-figure debt. And all I did was just share my products that I loved with absolutely everybody I knew. Okay. Now, a few things that I did from the very beginning, because I knew that I could do these things. I knew that I could connect with another mom. I knew that I could help show other moms how it was possible for them to be able to stay home and make money at the same time. I wanted to be able to show moms that they could have this excitement and purpose about something again, because that was something that just lit up in me when I found Monat. I mean, how many of you guys, you were so excited. And it was like this person that I let kind of fade away. All of a sudden, there she is. I wanted women to start feeling that. I also knew I was funny. I've relied on comedy my entire life to lighten the mood. If I thought somebody didn't like me, if I could get them to laugh, I knew that I had them. So I always used comedy as my crutch. And I was like, you know what? Comedy was my crutch. Now it's my strength. And I'm going to use it to connect with people. And so that's what I developed right there was my brand. I wanted to invite people, to show people that they could be successful at home, that they could find purpose and passion again beyond what they do every single day, that they could find humor in everyday living. You guys, that was my brand. I know that sounds so super simple, but that's all you have to do with this is you just got to figure out what makes you you. When you joined Monat, what did it fix for you? What did it fix? It didn't just fix your hair. It fixed something else. Did it give you more confidence? Did it help you provide a paycheck for your family? What value are you going to provide to the people on the other side of that screen? If you are not a comedian, if you're not an actress, if you don't have that skill, don't try to do it because it's going to be really hard to keep up with that. When you try to be something you're not, it's not going to be sustainable. Now, I believe people can grow and you can learn. And for instance, I have really, really challenged my team to dive into Reels, and I have watched these ladies grow. And I don't think it's growing the comedy skill or whatever. I think it's growing their confidence muscle. That's what they're growing. You guys, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I don't know what my strength is, you have a lack of confidence. And do you know that confidence is a muscle? And the more that you use it, the more that you practice it, the bigger and stronger it's going to get. Okay? Monat is not your total brand. It's a part of it. And I would encourage you to not even use the word Monat. If you were to go and look at my bio, it says I help women have healthy hair and skin at any age. Don't say Monat in there. I help people have healthy skin and hair at any age. Okay. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into this brand a little bit. I know I gave you a Cliff Notes version of my story, but I don't want to take too much time. But I want to talk to you guys about your brand. First and foremost, you're going to pick 4 to 5 things that make you you. Just like I just said, those 4 to 5 things that make me me. 4 to 5 things. And if you're having trouble thinking about 4 to 5 things that make you you, I want you to ask your friends. Ask your friends, ask your family. Just ask for 3. What are 3 things that you think of when you think of me? What would you come to me for advice about? Right? Another thing that can be on that list is, who do you want to be? I know that's a different concept, but who do you want to be? Do you want to be a leader of a huge team? Do you want to be a confident woman that is out there changing lives? Guess what? You can be that. Nobody on the other side of that screen knows that you don't have 1,000 people on your team. You can be a super successful leader by leading one. Okay? So are you a leader? What are you wanting to portray to the person on the other side of that screen? When we talk about branding ourselves, I tell my girls to think of the one avatar that you're talking to on the other side of the screen. So I'm thinking Kat was talking earlier, and she's telling the story about, and I'm going to use this in my own way. Like, you can take stories and apply it to what you're doing. But I loved how she just said, it doesn't matter how long it takes to get you there. And she used the analogy of, how much time did you actually play on the ice when you got that? We're not a hockey place, so I don't even know what the trophy was or whatever championship thing you got, but you won something, and you know what I mean? And nobody's going to ask you. I'm going to say something about basketball because that's my thing, but how many minutes did you get in that championship game? Nobody's going to ask you that. Right? So I want you to start thinking of the person on the other side of the screen. What would you wanted to see from somebody when they were talking to you about money? Would you have wanted to see, buy this, it's a sale, and blah, blah, blah. No, you're going to want to see how it worked for them, how it personally worked for them, and how it's going to help you, the person on the other side of the screen. That is every single post you're putting up. If you are doing something about money, I don't want you to just educate about money. I want you to personally tell people what it's done for you. If you're not personally using the product, you're going to tell what it's done for somebody you know. Okay? That is telling a story, not selling. And that will bring people to you. Okay? Another thing you have to be doing, if you are developing a brand about yourself, you have to show up as that person every single day. You know, we were on a call last night, and one of the girls that's one of my sidelines under Monica called me a goofball ding dong. She said, you guys go watch Amy's stories. She's a goofball ding dong all the time, but people love it and they tune back in and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm so flattered. I've never been called a goofball ding dong before, but I liked it because I know people are watching. If they want to say, did you watch Amy's story today? Can you believe what she did? Blah, blah, blah. Providing enough value that when one of my Monat commercials passes by, they're going to let that go because there's enough value happening there that it's okay. Oh, I'm going to let that slide. Oh, she's been talking about this a few times. That's interesting. Maybe that would work for me. I'm going to reach out to her. You guys may sound like that sounds so elementary, but that's exactly how it happens. I have shown up. Okay, when I started really focusing on my social media, this was about 3 years ago, I decided, okay, I feel like I've tapped out every person that I physically know. I need to get deeper into how can I reach more people? And that's when I just dove into figuring out social media. I dove into Instagram because Facebook seemed really mean at the time. I'm kind of diving back into Facebook a little bit, but I've dove into Instagram and I've shown up every single day for 3 years. That may sound taxing, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to keep it really super simple for you. There are 3 things you have to do every single day. You need to show up in your story every single day. I'm going to tell you something. If you show up in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, they're only 15 seconds each. If you could do a minute of each one, that'd be even better. That's 3 minutes of your time. If you're like, Amy, I don't have enough time to do that. Are you watching more than 3 minutes of somebody else's story? Probably. You got enough time to show up for yourself, okay? I also want you to post on your main feed. There are content. We have an amazing content person on our team. She creates our content calendar every month, Jolene. But if you need help with content, type it in Pinterest, content calendar. They're there. They just tell you what to post. You just got to put a pretty picture with it. I mean, you got to take some good quality pictures. You're going to get better at it. Set up your tripod, get comfortable taking some selfies. My kids don't even think about it anymore. Me in front of my favorite window, taking a bunch of selfies as like, you guys leave me alone for a second. I'm taking a selfie. Okay. All right. There. It's fine. I'm not joking. That's what it looks like. But you guys have to be able to show up for your people every single day as whoever it is that you've decided your brand is going to be. Okay. That doesn't mean everybody needs to know absolutely everything about your life. You have a filtered version. It's still authentic and real, but it doesn't have to be every single thing that's going on in your day. It's okay to be a little bit of an oversharer, but you also have to remember you're trying to get these people to do business with you. So, or buy shampoo from you. So maybe not share everything, but be relatable to those people. So that was the second thing. Third thing, I want you guys to utilize lives. Okay. I am so proud of my girls. I have seen more lives come from these girls in the last month than I've ever seen before. And it's because we're really diving into that. Reels is another one. That's going to be a fourth one in just a second. But those lives, I want you to pick a day. We do Meet Monate Mondays. And every Monday we go live. If it didn't go real well, guess what? You don't have to upload it to an IGTV and it's gone. Poof. It's just, if it goes really well, then you can save it. And it can be an IGTV that you use over and over and over and over and over and over again. I want you to go live sometime and just talk about the VIP program until it goes really well. And then save it. And then every single time somebody's like, hey, what's this whole VIP thing? I think I'm interested in being a VIP. Hey, would you watch this real quick video? I actually explain it and let me know after you watch it and I'll get you set up. You guys, this is a resource you can use that is going to simplify what you're doing. Every single time somebody's interested in the opportunity, I have an IGTV video that I send them. That was a live that I did. Every single time somebody becomes a VIP customer, I send them an IGTV of me shampooing my hair. Every single time somebody asks about the VIP program, I send them an IGTV. Did you also know when you have an IGTV video that you can use it as a swipe up? Even if you don't have 10,000 followers, you can take your IGTV video and say, swipe up to watch this video. And it's you. And it's you talking about maybe a flash sale. You can create a little flash sale about that, okay? Fourth thing, Reels. Reels are so powerful right now. So powerful. It is the newest feature. Actually, I forgot to mention the lives. This is the biggest. There's a stink bug in here and it keeps trying to get close to me. But the lives, this is the newest feature. You can go live with up to 4 people. I want you to go and find 3 people on your team and go live this week together. Now, whoever account starts it, that's the only one that can download it. But while you are live, all 4 of your social media platforms are being alerted that you are live. That's pretty cool, right? Like go live and maybe each one of you make a plan beforehand. Don't just go into it all willy-nilly, but maybe say, hey, I'm going to talk for 5 minutes and tell my story. Then I'm going to lead into you and you're going to talk for 5 minutes and tell your story. And then you're going to talk for 5 minutes, or maybe even have like an interview type thing. That's what I want to do is I want to have 3 different people on with me and have like a little interview. Like they're sitting down and we're talking over coffee. Hey, let's interview these people. Okay. Do it. I promise Instagram is going to drive traffic to it because it's the newest feature. Second newest feature, and it's still really big, is Reels. Reels are big. Do them, do them, do them, do them. More people are going to watch your reel and your IGTV than they're going to even watch your story. Okay. They're going to watch it and it can be watched over and over and over and over again. If you're like, Amy, I don't know what to do my reel on. What were those 4 to 5 things that we just talked about? Those 4 to 5 things that make you you, that you're going to talk to the person on the other side of the screen. Did you guys know in Instagram, you can go to a spot in there just to scroll through reels? I'm going to give you a little tip because you can get stuck in the scroll hole. I want you to purchase a 5 to 10 minute hourglass. I know this sounds weird, but I have different size hourglasses all over my office. This is my half an hour hourglass. This is 30 minutes. That's because if I am wanting to do something, if I'm wanting to write a post, I have to set time, or I'm going to spend way too much time on that and neglect other parts of my business. So if you want to go do your scroll to find inspiration, which I do it too, but let's face it, scrolling for inspiration ends up turning into an hour, and then an hour and a half, and then 2 hours. I want you to go and just scroll on the reels. This little thing down here, if you can see it in the middle, you click on that, that is going to bring up reel after reel after reel after reel. And these aren't only people you're following. These are people that are going to be like, have like-minded things to you. There may be stuff that you've viewed in the past. So go and look. And if you're like, oh, I really like this audio, I like this idea, click on the little sound down here. Go see if it's being used. If it's being used a lot, it's trending. Save it and go recreate it. You guys, that's all TikTok is recreating other people's stuff. And do it. Make it you, make it fun, and do it. A lot of times I will record if it's longer, like I do a lot of transitions, so don't focus on those unless you really get better at it. But I do all of those kinds of things, like my teenage ones I do on my phone, and then I edit an InShot. You can do a lot, especially if you're just doing a simple reel. You can do it from Instagram. There's an alignment if you're doing a transition. So let's say we're going to go in here and I'm going to do a reel, and my hand is over here. Oh, look, I'm doing a reel, and now I'm done. All right. So now if I want to pick it up right where I just left off, I'm going to hit the align button, and I'm going to put my hand until it matches up. I don't know if you guys can see this, but my hand will match up. I'll get everything else in the background matched up, and then hit it again. And all of a sudden I've created something that, you know, and you can transition it. Did that make sense a little bit? I'll have to do something to explain that. But a lot of people are like, how did they do that transition? It's much easier than you think it is. It's so much easier than you think it is. Align it up and then just do it again. But you're wanting to, when you're doing reels, focus on 3 things. Are you providing value? Like, are you teaching somebody something? Are they seeing something? Are you creating curiosity? Or are you entertaining? 3 things. Are you providing value? Invoking curiosity. I couldn't think of that word. Invoking curiosity, or are you entertaining? That should help you. That should help you figure out, like, what am I doing? What am I doing here in this reel? Right? Providing value could be like Amy Scott is one of my leaders, and she creates the coolest projects using like power tools. Like, she's not just a crafter. She like creates things with like power tools and stuff. And she will show how she made it in like 30 seconds. People love seeing that stuff. They're like, what? I can do that. Like, what do you love doing? What brings you so much joy? I know it's not just money. And if you're like, it is money, that's what brings me the most joy. What are parts of money that bring you joy? Is it the helping others create confidence? Is it leadership development? Is it teaching other people how to love their skin, teaching other people how to love their hair? Think past just the surface level of what it is and dig a little bit deeper. All right, so that was a lot of content in a very short amount of time. So we may just have to do it again sometime, Kat. So do we want to do any questions and answers at all?
Do you have time for that? Because I know you have something coming up right away.
We decided that instead of rushing through this, we're not going to do tonight, because we also do a team call tomorrow night. So we'll have tomorrow night too.
Okay, well, if you have time, because we don't have anything else on the block for our team wideness. So I think we can open up for a few questions. So why don't you guys put them in the comments and just say who they're for in there.
I will say, you guys, I remember Kat on stage saying those exact words. She goes, my daughter did not choose to be born into a single parent home. And I just remember like that hit me like a brick wall. I was like, wow. Like, I never even thought about that whole concept until you said that. It was so cool.
Yeah, that just fell out of my mouth. Like, I was like I just remember sitting back there and I was just like, it's kind of intimidating because like I'd never met any of these people before, and I'm sitting next to Jenny Sanzo, and I got Kyla Williamson and this Michelle something there on the couch with me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see Luis, he's got his translation headphones on, and I'm like, oh my god, he's listening. Oh, oh no.
Can you believe that that convention had less than 1,000 people and it still felt like we were at the Grammys?
I felt like I felt like it was like the most like, no, Houston was probably my favorite Monations. Like
That's the one that I spoke on stage on. I loved
and
that.
I was on stage for that one too. So I was like, that was the high point. I think my favorite Monation.
Okay. There's a question here about what else do you commit to daily that's a normal workflow day. First and foremost, personal development. Every single day I start my day with personal development. Then before personal development, I do Chatty and the Caddy. That is part of my work day. That may sound really silly, but that is part of my work day. That is how I know I'm committed to that time where people get to know me. They know more about my life. I connect with my following. And then I come inside, I do my personal development, and then I do reach outs. I'm trying this challenge right now, which is really challenging me, where I'm reaching out to at least 100. I'm going for 100 no's a day. So I did a whole challenge or a whole talk about the 100 no challenge, and going for the no. Great book, Go for No. And I'm trying to do that right now. And that's taking a lot of time. I will tell you, I'm not sure. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to give it a couple more days, but it's a lot of people. But I normally commit to 20 new reach outs every single day. I post every day on my social media. And then we have team calls. So we'll do team trainings. I make sure that my evenings are pretty much for my team. So like on Tuesdays and Wednesday evenings, that's, for me to connect with my girls. We just added a new Tuesday afternoon for my up and coming amazing leaders. We're busting out at MMB. I'm so excited about that. And we're going to be creating this is a whole new thing that I'm getting ready to roll out to them. We're going to be doing, MMP to MMB. And then we're going to be doing busting out at MMB and then driving to director, because you're driving a Cadillac at that point. So we're driving to director. So I'm excited about bringing up those things. The team is growing. Much like Kat, 3 years ago, my entire organization was cut in half along with my volume. And we are building stronger than ever before this time around. And so I'm so excited about the team that we have going right now, because it's here for the long haul. And I mean, nothing's going to shake it. Our foundation is so much stronger this time. So I'm super excited about it. But beyond that, my day is up to me. So I look at what areas in my business I need to focus on that day. And so if I know that I've got a bunch, like yesterday, I spent 2 hours packing up like 20 packages that needed to go out and get to the post office. So I evaluate my day when I sit down and go to bed. Like I lay down, I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I physically write out my day for the next day. I got 4 kids, so I have to figure out, okay, where am I going to fit my business in? Because if I just say, oh, I'm just going to see what happens, it won't happen. So I plan it out and make sure before I go to sleep every night, I've planned out my next day. Yeah.
No, I love that. So okay, another one we have here is, and I'm interested in this because I love how your brain works as well. And so what do you think made it so that your reels get such amazing views? I'll never forget the day where I had like multiple people sending me Amy Sloan TikToks being like, this was hilarious. And I'm like, yeah, like weird, but how do you know her?
Yeah. I honestly, Kat remembers Janet. So I have thrown so much comedy at the wall. I have thrown idea after idea after idea at the wall, just hoping things will stick. And so I've thrown some stuff out there that fell flat on its face. But I just kept getting up and doing it again and getting up and doing it again. I still have some that don't do as well that I think are going to like knock it out of the park. And I'm like, what? 60,000 views? I thought it'd be like, 600,000 views. So it's just honestly throwing it out and being creative, and getting your message across quickly, precisely and quickly.
Mhm.
You know, that's, I think the thing that people have loved about my reels is I tell an entire story in 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And that's hard to do. Like an entire story is made in 30 seconds.
Mhm.
But, you know, good quality video. That's a big one if you're just like, but that's what I think why mine have done really well, but I think others do really well because of good quality video, which your phone can take really great video now. And using sounds, if it's not your original sound, using trending sounds, using sounds that are being used a lot. TikTok and Instagram want you to circulate sounds that are well known. That's how they become trending. And so if you're seeing something you're seeing it a lot, do it. And if you see an idea and you're like, I think I could do that better,
Mhm.
create an original sound and do it better.
Mhm. So this one is, what does a typical reach out look like for you? Do you go straight up, ask about the business, or create a
This is a long
relationship?
answer. This is a long answer. So I teach my team a 3-2-1 method. And so we find 5 new people every single day on social media to reach out to and to connect with. And when we find that person, we go 3-2-1. We like 3 of their photos, comment on 2 of them, and get into their DMs. DMs are where sales happen. Now this first DM, this 3-2-1 is not Monate. This 3-2-1 is like, if they are doing something in their story, you're interacting with their story. You're just saying, oh my gosh, your daughter's adorable. Oh my goodness, I love this. I have one of these at home. You're relating, you're creating a conversation. 3-2-1. What's going to happen when somebody sees 3-2-1 and there's 5 things that this one person has done on your account? What do? You go and you click on that person's account to see what they're about. And so they're going to go and they're going to check you out. So you better have a good landing page where they're coming to figure out who you are and what you do. Okay. So 3-2-1. Then we have to, and Jolene just did an amazing training about notebooks, keeping track of who you're reaching out to, what stage you're in. So there's no systematic way to really know, okay, this is when you hit them with Monate. You kind of, I am more, I don't want to say forceful. That's not the word I'm looking for. I don't beat around the bush. So I don't do a whole lot of foreplay. I'll talk to you. And as soon as I can make you laugh, then I hit you with Monate. Like if I can make you laugh, that's my go-to. If I can make you laugh, then I've got you. You're going to listen to me. I'm a real person. And 100% of the time, unless I'm sitting in bed and I can't do an audio message, I use my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Do not send though, like 5 1-minute voice messages. just one. Saying, yeah, go for it.
For you guys, Amy, if you're using notebooks, we used to do that, and now we use called the Penny app. Go and check it out. The Penny app, like PENNY, and go check that out and watch some YouTube videos on it. You'll throw all your notebooks away.
Okay. Penny life. Penny
app.
Penny app.
Yeah.
I read life down there. Penny app. Okay. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah.
For sure. But so
even send notifications to remind you to do your research.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it depends. I also occasionally like to pull people out of my followers by doing like a sample giveaway or a giveaway of any kind to see who's actually watching and interested. So don't do them a whole lot, but like maybe once or twice a quarter, throw a giveaway out in there just to see who's interested and really paying attention to your content.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And I think, so then you do send out samples, like, do you do samples or are you a sampler?
I sample, I keep samples in my purse of the energy. So I have what are called like showstopper samples. So we have our energy, that's a showstopper sample that's easy to give. The eye smooth is a really great one, or the berry scrub. Either one is a really I know they don't have the berry scrub in a sample, so we do this. I know that they don't necessarily tell us to do this, but you can get them super cheap. And I take these little tiny containers and I just keep berry scrubs in my purse. Mm-hmm. And then hair wise, a mask. The super moisture mask is a really good showstopper. Whether they have the shampoo or the conditioner, they can use the super moisture mask with whatever they're using. Mm-hmm. And they really, so I carry those in my purse and my my business card, but I send everything from the Connect app. Do you guys have the Connect app? You can use that there, right?
We do. Ours isn't as good as yours because it takes about 10 to 14 days for people to get them. So
It
it's
takes about a week for
yeah,
us, about 7 days. Yeah.
yeah. So we kind of, and then they weren't like, yeah, Canada had some struggles with the Connect app. And so I think a lot of us fell off of the Connect app train because of that. But I mean, it's always good to give it a go again and see if they've gotten kinks worked out in it. There. And then and I think that when you said the question here about the easiest and fastest way to gain followers, grow your views and reels on engagement. And I think that you kind of covered that in like trending sounds, consistency every single day, doing all of the things, right? Like not.
I mean, I got to where I am with working it consistently for 3 years. So, I mean, if you're not willing to really consistently work it, it'll take you longer. You know, it's still the same content. I'm so stuck on this and my team's probably tired of hearing it, but failing faster. You got to start failing. If you feel stuck, then you're not failing enough. You need to keep trying and having risks and failing. Yeah. I mean, that it's just the truth. So like I've done so much bad crap out there, but I fail. I just was like, okay, I'm closer to something successful. Let's just keep going.
And
But
it's not the thing, hey? It's like, it's the key. It's like, you don't ever win if you don't try. Right. So no, and I love that. And I it's actually so funny because I remember sitting there in Minneapolis and I think you had like 5,000 followers in Minneapolis. And then guys, like she was so consistent with Chatty and the Caddy. I mean, I don't think there's a person that's watching this that doesn't know about Chatty and the Caddy. Right. And then I remember you getting your 10K and then you were like, I'm like, Amy's like almost at 100K. Like, what the heck?
I'm telling you, that one reel, I had one reel that went viral. Other ones that were doing well and they were gaining like good traction. But then I had one reel that took me from 3,500 followers to 75. One reel, you guys, one reel. And I mean, I threw so many at the wall until that one really, really, really stuck. And I don't necessarily love making those teenage reels because they take me a lot of time, but they get me a lot of followers. I know I'm good at it. So, I mean, I would actually I love comedy. I wish I could do it more, but it doesn't pay my bills. Monate does. And so I got to focus on that.
Soon, next thing you know, Amy opening up for Kevin Hart on tour.
That'd be amazing.
Well, yeah. And so one question that I always like to ask is, and what people, and a bunch of our MMBs and up had the question for you too, is like, how do you get out of a slump?
How do I get out of a slump? I'm going to sound like a broken record. I challenge myself. I do things that scare me. You know, if you're feeling in a slump, if you're feeling stuck, you literally have stopped challenging yourself. You've stopped trying new things. There are things in your business that you just aren't willing to do. There are things that you are doing more of because you feel productive, but you're neglecting another part because it's not as fun to do, or you don't feel comfortable doing it. It's just not something you really want to do, where that's the very thing that you need to do. A lot of times it's lives. A lot of times it's actually having face-to-face conversations with people and hiding behind a screen. You know, starting to get back together with people and doing some Meet Monates or meeting somebody for coffee. You know, there are things that you're not doing that you have to do to get out of the slump that you're in. I want you to picture yourself like in a hole. You're not just going to stand there and like if you've tried jumping out of the hole, you just keep trying and jumping. Like, didn't work, but I'm just going to keep doing it. You know, like you're not going to do it. You're going to look around and you're going to find a resource. Maybe you're going to start digging some stairs. That doesn't work. You're going to try something else. You got to try new things to get out of the slump that you're in. You know, and I always feel like I have to put in there that I say this to my team all the time because I feel bad that I say the same things and they're on here like, you've already told me that. But I tell them all the time, whatever got you to where you are right now will only get you where you are right now. Does that make sense? Like where you are in your business right now will only get you to where you are right now. You
Mhm,
got to start doing new things. You got to start trying new things.
mhm. No, and I think that for me too, a lot of the times it's like we rise by lifting others too. So like if you're in a slump, go and try to go and like reach out to people and don't
Yeah.
pass your slump on to them, but put on your hat of like, okay, I'm going to rise by lifting someone else up too, whether or not that's, I mean, you can double down and make it someone who's not currently in your team right now either. Right. And you can
Yeah.
add value. That's like my go-to in it because that's like other ways I'm just like, sometimes that you were with the director summit and when Mel Robbins said like, don't just do it for a minute and see if you want to
Yeah.
keep going. Right. And I was
Yeah.
like, that for me was like, boom. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. The mind is so powerful. And her talking about how procrastination is a stress reliever and your brain is trying to protect you from stress. Man, like that was a light bulb moment for me. Like, wow. And if you just force yourself 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 it for 1 minute, 80% of you will keep working
Mhm.
after that 1 minute because your brain has recognized, oh, this isn't as scary or as stressful as I thought it was going to be.
I'm not gonna die. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I don't want to take up too much of
Yes.
your evening here, and I think that maybe we have to plan a sassy impact opportunity call, and maybe we
That
can,
would be awesome.
that would be a lot of fun. I think we could do, and we could bring it all together.
Okay.
And I'm so grateful for you. I miss you. I
I
miss running
know.
into you 4 times a year for sure. Like,
Are
and
you going to be in Vegas?
we don't, our borders still aren't open, so we can't come in April.
Okay.
And we're still in social isolation. Like we can't have friends over. So
Yeah.
we won't be there in April. July we might get to go. Maybe if we
Yeah.
so because we have to quarantine in hotels when we come back. So
Oh
we
my gosh.
yeah, so it's a little bit, so but we're gonna be when you just wait, you will hear and you'll feel the ground rumbling when they open the border and the Canadians are coming across. Like,
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
but I
I
want to
know.
I
Yeah.
want to close this with something, you guys, because I really want people to understand this, okay? And you can look at Amy and you can say different things like, okay, she's got a following. She didn't always have a following. She's a stylist. She's said how it's not the easiest being a stylist. And I also want you guys to understand and know something. Amy came into this business like over 5.5 years ago. And then someone came into the business and you may have heard of her. Her name is Sarah Hill and she lives not too far from Amy. Okay. And so many people will use excuses saying, like, oh, well, she's like here and I can't do that, da, 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 all of the different things. And like, I respect you so much, Amy, for the fact that like excuses just aren't there for you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit or not, but like, I think it's a
Ugh.
powerful thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it shook me a little bit because I had, people leaving my team and I mean, it was crazy stuff that happened during all of that. And but I had myself a pity party. Oh, I had myself a little pity party, but then I remembered there's no other option for me, first of all. And I love this business. I love my team. I'm going to keep pushing through this because I believed in myself. And eventually I came to the realization that I had something to offer people that she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That my vibe is going to attract my tribe, and her vibe doesn't really attract my tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with her. I mean, that's awesome. Women support women. I want her to be successful. Her success, honestly, guys, is our success because it's spreading the word of Monate faster. And just people are just out there waiting for someone they know and trust to introduce it to them. And I think about that all the time. I was like, okay, I'm going to talk to people. I want to be the first person that they know that introduces them to these products.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think at the end of the day, you need to recognize that there are more heads of hair and more faces out there that have yet to hear about these products. And you are limiting yourself to the little demographic area that you are in. when it comes to social media, if you're worried you have like an SED or $1 million earner living around the block from you, get into your social media and start attracting people to you. Beyond that, recognize that they know completely different people than you know. And those people know people, and those people know people. So stop limiting yourself to that. And for the love of God, stop comparing yourself to people. That is, if there is somebody, when you go to their social media or you talk to them and they make you feel less than, or you start feeling worse about yourself, unfollow them. Okay? There are multiple people that I started off following in Monate that I no longer follow. And people will be like, oh, did you see what so-and-so did? I'm like, no. And I'm better for it because it wasn't good. It wasn't good for me. Protect your mind, protect your heart, and stay in your lane. Love on your people and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing.
And I think that, because I mean, I know we have people in the Southern California area and stuff like that. And like they'll get into that mindset. And I'm like, okay, like we have a city where we live in Edmonton, right? When we live, there's, I think, what is there, like 1 million people here, and we had 5 directors at one point. I'm like, come on, like guys, let's go, right? Like, California is the size of Canada in population, like,
Dang.
so I think that I think that's a really admirable thing too, because I'm sure a lot of people also threw in the hat before they even tried, because they're like, oh, Indy's gone, right? Like,
I lost a lot of leaders because they said, oh, well, she's signing up all my friends now, the people I was going to talk to.
Yeah.
Why didn't you talk to them?
Yeah. Right. Or follow up. It's like, just because you peed on them once doesn't mean that they're yours. Like, you gotta keep going back, right? Like,
you marked them.
Yeah, it's like, I licked it, so it's mine. Like, no, that's not how it works, right? Kind of thing. So I'm so excited. We need to like figure out a date to do a sassy impact. I think we can like brand it like that. Even.
Let's do it. That would be so much fun.
And get an opportunity call going. Maybe we can do a big giveaway or something, and it'd be super fun.
Yes. That'd be a whole lot of fun.
Right. So yes, thank you guys all for giving us like a good chunk of your evening. And can't wait to see everybody.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So thank you, Amy, for jumping on and trusting us to come on, hang out with us. And I love you. I miss you, and can't wait to see you. So soon. Guys, soon. Yes. Thanks, guys. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.